Hi, my name's Rupert and I'm going to explain to you why it's so important that you don't reuse passwords across multiple services. So historically you may well have been given or set up the same username and password combination for your computer as for your mailbox. An example on my screen, a gentleman called Bob uses the not very secure password of QWERTY. Maybe it's one he's used for years, it's easy for him to remember, and he even changed his new computer back to that password when his IT supplier gave him a proper new secure password for convenience. Totally understandable. There's a good chance as well that Bob, if he was signing up for another service, is likely to try and use the same password again in the name of convenience. So perhaps Bob's Facebook account, his Google account, his Dropbox, his Zero Accounts platform, they may all use the same password, maybe even across some of his social media accounts like Twitter or LinkedIn. So let's pick on LinkedIn for a minute. What Bob might not know is that back in 2012, LinkedIn had a data breach. It subsequently emerged there were 117 million passwords released in that breach, all of which are available to buy on the dark web. Bob's is one of them, unfortunately. Bob was, interestingly, one of 37,500 people that uses the QWERTY password on LinkedIn. And so from a hacker's point of view, they've now got a set of credentials that they have been able to verify: bob at customerdomain.co.uk and Bob's password QWERTY. As a hacker, the next thing I'm going to try and do once I've established that information is very simple. I'm just going to start logging into some other well-known services, perhaps the companies that I linked to on the previous slide. I'm going to go to Amazon and see if they'll let me in as bob at customerdomain.co.uk with a password of QWERTY. Maybe buy myself something nice. See if I can log into Microsoft Online, massively popular email service, and maybe there's some company files stored up in SharePoint as well. Bob at customer.co.uk and QWERTY again. Maybe Bob's got a PayPal account with some cash in it that I can just transfer to another service or withdraw to my bank account. So those are just three very quick examples. But obviously the concept is the same. Once I've got a username and password combination that I know, it's very, very easy, even programmatically, for me to try logging into these other services from elsewhere. At this point, it's worth mentioning the source of the password breach is irrelevant from a hacker's point of view. In the case of a cloud or supplier breach, like with LinkedIn above, that's one place. Bob's device, his computer, could have been compromised. Is the network he was connected to, if he was on insecure Wi-Fi or something. Or Bob could have accidentally clicked on a link in a phishing email and typed in the password himself, trying to log into something that he thought was for the right reasons, but in actual fact he was giving his password away to a hacker. But these are just three of the ways that hackers can build up lists of passwords and so on that they can use and ultimately use for themselves or sell for profit on the dark web. If we look at this from an organisation point of view, from a company level, it's really important that we don't share passwords across a company. Let's carry on giving Bob a hard time, I'm afraid. But let's say that Bob's company does actually use Microsoft Office 365, millions of users around the world. It's one of the biggest cloud services out there, with good reason. If within Bob's company it's commonplace to use the same password, perhaps for convenience, perhaps for an excuse like so you can monitor a colleague's mailbox when they're on holiday, that sort of thing. It's very easy for a hacker to build up a list of the other valid email addresses at that company, at that domain. Including the really important ones. Typically the boss's ones are the accounts mailbox, where all the financial information and invoices and so on come in and out of the company. So if Bob's account is compromised and they use the same passwords within the company in other locations, it massively increases the likelihood of being able to get into one of the other mailboxes as well, which can do massive damage to a company of any size. There's a lot of solutions out there that can help for this sort of thing. In this day and age, password managers are prevalent. They're affordable, they're easy to set up and use. They generate secure passwords for you and they store them, and they'll even take you to the website and log in for you. So you don't actually need to remember all these passwords yourself. You just need one or two passwords to get into that platform, and then from there they'll do all the heavy lifting for you. There's a lot of regulations in place these days. GDPR in the EU, individual regulatory bodies that have standards that require companies to inform you of data breaches on their systems. And that is actually helping from notify people in the event of an incident, allowing you to go and change your passwords if you know that that one password on that one website has been breached, which is a 2-minute job. There's services out there that will proactively monitor whether or not your passwords have been breached, whether you've got accounts with those companies, and allow you to receive notifications so that you can very proactively go and change your passwords in the event of an issue. And that's one of the services that we provide for our managed security customers. Developers these days are actually taking that information as well, and they're using it to check. So for example, when you sign up for a new account with the BBC will check if the password you give them is on that list of compromised passwords. There's billions of them out there. The BBC don't want to accept a compromised password because it reduces their security. They're trying to protect themselves and you when you sign up for a new account. And there's an awful lot of free resources out there around passwords and password policies and acceptable use and that sort of thing. So the purpose of these videos is to encourage people to take action. I'd encourage you, if there's a password that you know that you use in more than one place, go and change it now. Go and change it the next time you log in and have to type in that poor password. You know, the one that you know that you cringe when you see it and you know you've been meaning to do it for a long time. Make today the day that you do that, please. Have a conversation with your colleagues about reusing and sharing passwords within your organisation. Is it acceptable? What are the potential consequences? What are the costs? It's people's lives and businesses on the line in some cases with these breaches. And lastly, I'd say ask your IT support team for help, whether you've got an internal IT department or you work with an outsourced MSP technology company like NetPrimates. Trust me when I say, as an industry professional, you'll make their day if you actually proactively go to your IT people and talk about passwords, not to moan about them, not to complain about them, and not because there's been a breach. Being proactive about that sort of thing indicates, goes a very long way, and people will always be generous with their time, in my experience, if you're trying to improve your security. So I really hope you found this video useful. Please do share it with anyone else that you think may benefit. You can subscribe on the link below and sign up on our website at netprimates.com/tips to receive notifications when we release new videos in the series. We look forward to seeing you again, and thank you for your time.